Welcome to CPC Strong podcast. I am your host, Mario Nolan Dillard. Please be reminded to like, share, subscribe, and also comment. I am elated. I am excited. I am full of, this is a longtime friend of mine, and we met each other in the world of occupational therapy, behavioral therapy many, many years ago, and we've just clicked from day one. He is my second guest, the second episode for the CPC Strong podcast, and I called on him first as an interview to talk about essentially young men and young women, habit formation, right? And so our guest for the day is the COO of Stillwater Health, Pinacky Chakravarty. He's an occupational therapist, mental health advocate, life coach, driving growth through mindset and habit. Pinacky is the CEO again of Stillwater Home Health, an experienced occupational therapist, mental health advocate, and life happiness coach. With expertise in dementia care and rehabilitation, he is passionate about personal development, mindset, and habits as keys to growth and transformation. A strong believer in leadership with a holistic approach to empower individuals and to see them thrive. I want a warm welcome of applause for Mr. Pinacky Chakravarty. Can I get that in the background?
Thank you, Mario, for inviting me and having me. And also, I want to thank you, CPC, for inviting me, and B2 Studio for hosting us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier, and you said that there were some quotes that you want to talk about. Today, we want to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, right? So essentially what the idea is habit formation, right? Change your habits. The idea is that you can change your world, right? And so, of course, as a foundation, we educate. It's called E3. We educate, enlighten, and then empower. Why in that order? First, you must be educated. After you're educated, you become enlightened. And only when you become enlightened will you be empowered, right? Then the objective is to transcend, transform, transcend, and then transfer that information to the next person so that they can do the same. I called on this occupational therapist who was also a friend of mine to talk about habit formation and what that looks like. Let's talk about some of the quotes that you wanted to highlight today.
And like I said before, actually, there are like many quotes. Like some of my favorites are, like Aristotle had said, like, we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence is not an act, it's a habit.
It's a habit.
So, and some of the other most common quotes that we already know is that first we build our habits, then our habits build us.
Say that again. I want to slow down. I want that to soak in a little bit.
I said, first we build our habits, and then our habits build us. So if you actually take the literal meaning, but also the deep meaning, it's both. First, we actually build our habits. So that's both bad and good habits.
Yes.
Sometimes actually good habits is more intentional, and bad habits is just, we don't have to think about it. It's just not planned, but we get to, all of us do. And actually we just, it's not intentional, it's just not planned. So we just want to actually make sure that we create good habits intentionally and follow it. And that habits will actually build our life because it's automatic. Like you said, actually transform us to become a better person through those habits. And the other one is, which is very common, is actually, I think it's from the recent books, that we don't rise to our goals, we fall to our habits. Or some people call it to our systems.
James Clear.
Same.
And the atomic habit. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would like to quote one more, that motivation, like people talk about motivation can only get you started. But habits, actually the discipline through the behavior of discipline through the process of habits keeps you going. So motivation is important to get you started, but the habits is what keeps you going.
So motivation gets you started. Habits are what keep you going. I was reading, my son and I were reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he made a statement that he talked about how you should focus on your systems, not your goals, or systems are more important than goals. I'm interested to know how you feel about that statement, because we were back and forth on the body of the statement, right?
Sure.
And so I'd like to know how you feel about that statement.
I mean, I totally agree, because like they say, people fail, but systems don't. And that's the reason every individual, every company, every organization, every country, they have systems. And even our body has systems. It's designed to keep us alive and healthy too. Health
Right.
is more into intentional, but like we have our respiratory system, circulatory system. So system starts from within us. And so anything actually, so that's the generic thing, that systems are the building blocks of our destiny.
Okay. So systems are the building blocks of our destiny. As a part of the conversation with my son, Mario, and a few other people, I wanted to allow the space for Mr. Clear to kind of receive where he was coming from. I began to look at it from different angles through a prism, right? A prism. And so you want to take an idea, put it at the round table, right? And let all the versions of you look at it, right? Because each part of you may have something to say about a particular idea, right?
Sure.
And then you take a census from the table, all of your mini-me's, right? And then you can make an agreement with the statement or not with the statement.
Sure.
One of the questions I had about the statement was, it was about the way that it was articulated, that systems are greater than goals. So it's a really good question. It's a powerful statement. I do question possibly that. So systems have intention, right?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And intention is a goal, right? So the idea that a system is greater than the goal, it is something that I want to find. I'm still wrestling with. I think they have power together, not apart, like the yin and the yang. I think in the yin there's goals, and in the yang there's systems. I think they are equally, because goals are just the intention behind the system that you have, right? So then there's logistics that keep the factory moving, right? But there was the intention that started the factory from conception, right? So as we're understanding habits, could you explain how habits are formed in the brain, and why understanding the process, how habits are formed from a pattern of behavior from the individual, and how that process is crucial to personal transformation?
Okay, habits, like I said before, I mean, it's either planned or it's actually automatic, because some of the things are built up through our upbringing, through our daily practices. So we learn from other people. And that's the reason I always say, actually, it's our daily practices and also the environment we keep and the friends we keep. So habits are, I mean, there are many habits, and contrary to what we believe, actually, some of us believe that habits are only related to self-care and personal. Like we say, most of the time when we think about habits, we think about eating a good diet,
Right.
going to sleep, exercising, but it's more than that, So it's also actually, it's your relationship habits, your mindset habits, your finance habits. So you have to focus on that. You have to actually have a life assessment, or actually determine how is your life today.
Right.
And based on that, like you mentioned, goals. So when you have developed goals, and that will build your habits, and your behavior is basically your mindset that actually pushes it. Your mindset will push your behavior to build those habits. And of course,
So the mindset builds the behavior to push the habits.
Push the habits, yeah. And also 3 things, actually, like you said, actually, I also am a big fan of acronyms. So I have my own 3 acronyms.
Okay.
So I call it, first is the energy.
Energy.
Is the most important thing, because negative and positive energy, we all know about it.
Yes.
Because negative energy always drives us to do something bad or going down.
Yes.
And positive energy, of course, that's the fuel to do anything better or grow.
Okay.
Next one is your emotional triggers. You are how you feel, because like And that's one of my biggest challenge. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that we might actually get up tomorrow morning wanting to go for a run and things. And when you get up in the morning, you don't feel like doing it anymore.
Right.
That's because your thoughts are good, but your feelings are actually taking over your thoughts, even if they're positive energy. But if you have those emotional triggers, so you have to, that's where emotional intelligence comes into play. So you have to also learn to manage your emotions. And the last one is your environmental influences. So that's how to prepare and manage your environment. Like, you have to have, we always talked about having somebody to be your buddy, accountability buddy.
Right.
You have to set up the place, the workplace, or your house, or your, whatever you want to change it. Like if you are working on changing your diet, you don't want to have like all those crap foods in your food. You don't want like chips and cookies, environment. So that would be really, really careful. So those are also, to me, are primary factors that will help you, because behavior will form once you start building those habits first.
You said behavior will form. There's a term we call ABCs: the antecedent, the behavior, and then the conclusion. Right. This comes from when we're tracking as a pattern of behavior. When we're tracking the behavior, correct. Right? And so you talked about triggers. How do emotions, right, and your past influence your habits from a position of triggers?
Yeah. Like I said, everything is like programmed and conditioned. We are all wired in a certain way due to our past,
right?
Due to our upbringing, your friends. So, I mean, it can influence you if you don't make any changes, but there's always actually ways that you can unlearn and relearn new habits.
So what is a technique to unlearn a habit?
Basically, you have to first actually is to decide what are the habits that are stopping you. Basically, the blocking habits.
So you can create a list.
You can create a list.
Let's just say if you had a touch screen, you take the folder. To the left, you're going to put bad behaviors. To the right, you put good behaviors. Okay, go ahead.
I wouldn't put bad behaviors because that gives us a negative intuition.
Okay.
So I would put that actually something that behaviors that, like avoidable behaviors or something like that.
Avoidable behaviors. Avoidable behaviors.
So behaviors that are actually, and of course, you are the best person to know what are your patterns in your daily life. Or maybe somebody else, you can get your friend or accountable partner to tell you what are the patterns that are actually, sometimes we don't know what is bad in our life.
Absolutely.
So we have to actually have
denial.
Yeah, sometimes
right.
Our spouse or your best friends who are open to suggesting what are your avoidable behaviors, and then you can work on them and make them, okay, I don't want to do this. And of course, make that shift like you do actually, that, okay, I want to break this habit. You want to actually just kind of like, and the main thing is you want to take small steps. That's the key. I mean, a lot of people get really fearful, want to change because the gurus out there will tell you that you have to make a lot of changes quick. I mean, of course, some people can do that, but most of them you have to make small changes. And that's what atomic habits and tiny habits they talk about, that we are more programmed as a human to take small, they are more actually easy.
Right. I heard Jordan Peterson call it incremental success, right? So he said, when you get up in the morning, make your bed up, right?
Exactly.
Brush your teeth, right? Clean your space. Somebody says, why? Well, that means now you have checked off a list of things that you have accomplished for the day, right? So then you start a pattern of accomplishing, right?
Exactly.
And then the consistency to be disciplined on a daily basis. So every morning I have my 5, right? These 5, they allow me to sit on my throne for the day. Sure. And so when you ask me who's sitting on that throne, it's my best version, okay? And so those 5 are reading, writing, resources, meditation, and exercise, right? Exactly. So I say that because I call them your mini-me's, right? We are essentially we are a product of the 5 authorities that have raised us.
Exactly.
Your mother, your father, auntie, uncle. It could be society. It could be your church. It could be your coach, right? And so then we mimic their behavior. When you mimic the behavior, you become a product of your environment.
True. Very true.
right? And so the idea is identifying what those idiosyncrasies are,
True.
right? And then I like to, as I'm identifying them, right, to compartmentalize.
True.
Where did they come from? Because now we have to begin to track, right, those behaviors. If we're going to exegete, if we're going to pull out of those behaviors the best, let me start over. So we want to be able to exegete. We want to be able to extract information from the collection of tracking that we've done. So what are some techniques that you use to stabilize habits?
Thank you for asking that. Actually, I just created a acronym of my own based on all the books I've read. So it just helps me. So it's based on every letter of the words habits, HABITS. I call it the habits framework.
Okay.
And the motto is actually, or the goal is like change your habits actually, or change your destiny with one thought, one act, one habit at a time.
Okay.
So the H is, like we always talk about, is like your mindset. So the first thing we always have to start with is that H, which is harness your mindset.
I like that.
We cannot do, because you have to prepare your mind to do anything in life. First, you have to, because nothing moves forward until you have that mindset. And the A is act with intention. Like we said, actually, we have to know what is not a good behavior,
Right.
what is a bad behavior, and what do you want to,
And be intentional about it.
and very be intentional about
Okay.
it. So B is again, breathe and be present. So we always talk about, and that's why a lot of stresses are there. We are either in the past or in the future.
Right.
So we need to actually, there is a normal breathing process, but we need to intentionally breathe and stay mindful.
So just for a moment, let's talk about what breathing does.
If you want to know from the scientific point of view, breathing actually stimulates our vagus nerve, which is the parasympathetic nerve.
Absolutely.
And that's actually is really helpful for anybody who has a lot of stresses and going through a lot of anxiety. So basically, breathing calms your body. Breathing is your reset button for your body.
Say it again. It is your reset button for the body. And so you talked about breathing and then staying present.
Staying present, so which is your mindfulness, because we got to...
You said mindfulness.
So that's mindfulness.
Okay,
so,
right.
I mean, and there's a lot of talk about meditation and mindfulness, but it's all about being in the present. So, like a lot of people talk about meditation. So I know it's very funny. People think that you have to sit down and just but meditation is actually not about controlling your thoughts, but not your thoughts controlling you.
I like that. So I have a question. So how do you define, so first of all, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation, or is there a difference just for the watcher?
I mean, that's not it's basically one and the same. Meditation is more of like a term that then mindfulness is more in being present. So that's the reason you can be watching something or watching a bird sing and be mindful about it.
I like the idea. It's the reason why they call it the present, right? It is the gift of now.
Exactly.
Right.
True.
True. And so your next was I.
So I is invest in yourself. It's always people think about investing outside first. So like there's a very good term actually that's from the financial world, have just recently seen, invest in skills before you invest in stocks. So basically first investment should be on you. And that's the reason there's so much talk about reading books, listening to podcasts like this, and watching trainings and many other things, so that's one of the most.
I like it because you are your greatest commodity.
Exactly.
And investing in yourself first allows you to receive the greatest return on your investment, right? This is self-actualization. This is self-development, right? This is becoming your best version, right? And so when you align yourself with the Most High, right? And listen, whatever your Most High is, right? We're here to say that there is a power source back of all that we are, right? And so we want to have a seat in gratitude, identifying that the Most High exists, right?
Exactly.
But then, see, we are not just what God, we are not just what God is doing. We are also God's.
Of course.
Now, with not the capital G, but with the lowercase g, we are built in its image, in His image, right? And so, this is, I believe, that journey towards, right? See, I don't believe that we come in to learn anything new. I think we come in to remember from which we came. If that makes any sense. What do you think about that?
I mean, like you said, I totally believe that we are spiritual beings in a body.
Right.
So that's what it is, because and that's the reason the most people that have spiritually compromised are actually the real poor, because it's not only, see, richness is not just about money. Richness is about your values,
Yes.
your servingness, and how you give back. And one thing actually, I really love it actually, somebody was telling me about this, which I hope I knew earlier in my age, because now they talked about.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, we talked about that actually. And somebody was talking about these things, and it's just very strange that, as we grow, as we know more, we become more.
Right.
And if we don't do as we know more, then we are. And I think Maya Angelou also quoted it in a different way, but we should do better when we know better.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So those are some of the things actually I really believe that investing in yourself should be the first thing for anybody. So even if you don't know what you want to do in life or what are your goals, first primary goal should be how to better yourself and how to get to the better version of yourself. So that's why I put it invest in yourself. So.
Right. So the idea is investing in yourself. What does it look like? And once you identify, I think that you begin with the end in mind.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right. And then you you reverse engineer the idea, right? And so once you identify where you want to go, then the next question for me is, what is it going to cost for you to arrive at that place? Because you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to give some things up.
Oh yeah, they always say that either you have to pay the price for regret or the price of discipline.
Or the price of discipline.
So it's your choice. Mostly, I mean, of course, the price of discipline is very difficult for now, but it will give you the rewards later. The price of regret has that short-term gratification, but in the long term, and if you ask any of the older people, they will always say that regret is more heavier than discipline.
Make no mistake about it. Listen, you can, my baby brother, Philip Alexander, we called him Kahari Ajanaku. That means king of new things. I remember he's passed away now, but he told me this statement, and he says he was coming in town, right, from Detroit, where he was a broker. He spent the night at the house. He came into the house with his Christmas bag. He had his Christmas hat on. My kids were probably 4 and 6. They were younger, 4 and 6, maybe somewhere around that age. And as he gave them the gifts, he said, and he talked to them. One of the things he said was, he said, you can play now and pay later.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can pay now and play later.
Exactly. Those are very strong words and very true.
Right? You can play around now, but you're going to pay for it later, right?
Of course. You got to pay for it now or
listen,
later.
and then they begin to talk about youth is wasted on the young. That is a quote that I've heard many years. I think that we can play a role, right, in expressing and providing a platform for the younger the mind is, the better it is to plant seed as we give them tools for transformation, right? And as we build a bridge from us investing into ourselves, as we're doing here, the more of them that see it, they'll begin to invest in themselves.
Exactly.
And then no longer will youth be wasted on the young, right?
Okay, let me come to the last two then. The next is T is, which I think the last two are the most important. T is for take consistent actions.
Taking consistent action.
That's the most important one, because it's not what we do today or tomorrow. It's every day. So that has to be small steps, but it has to be consistently done, because that's the main thing that people don't do it. People do it for a while and then they don't get the results they expect and they stop doing it. So that's one thing. And the last one is stay resilient. And that's one of the challenges too, because there will be problems, there will be things that happen along the way.
Right.
Things don't work your way. People change. You lose something. But you have to stay resilient because that's the keystone to actually move forward. If you can overcome things and stay consistent to what you're doing, you will really go forward.
You talked about the habit framework, ladies and gentlemen. The H is for harnessing your mindset. The A is for act with intention. B is, of course, is to breathe and to stay present. I is for invest in yourself. The T is take consistent action. And then S, stay resilient. I love the acronyms. They give you a good workflow and a framework to operate in. I'm interested to know about the ego death, right? And how habits can help you arrive from that place.
First of all, like, our body, our mind has like ego and superego. They're like two things. Ego is like the primary or the primitive form of our human consciousness.
Right.
So ego comes from ignorance. So basically, as we learn more, know more,
Right.
we really know that we really don't know a lot, and we constantly grow. And that lack of ignorance through learning changes our perspective.
I used to think the more I learn, the dumber I feel.
And that's the way it is.
Because the more I know that I don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the reason actually people who think they know it all is the one actually that they might have like just touched the surface of the subject.
Right.
And think they know it all. But again, like if you learn about, there's like, nobody can know it all, basically. I mean, you can be an expert in a subject or a topic, but there's so much because there are different, even a simple logic can be perceived differently by different groups, by different communities, by different, citizens of different countries. So if you want to know it all, it's just very difficult because you have to really be a master, like student at all times to learn about everything.
A master student. So talking about being a master student, who were some of the gurus, some of the wisdom of the ages, from as far back as you can remember, that began to help you on your pathway?
I mean, actually, like it's a lot because I'm from India, and then we had a lot of saints and gurus who actually had a lot of scriptures from the about learning, growth. So it would be like, I know most commonest one like Swami Vivekananda.
Okay.
A lot of people know about him. So he was a lifelong student because he always speak truth, and he had given a speech here in Chicago back in the 1900s, or the early 1800s, I guess.
Right.
Yes. So that, and then Mahatma Gandhi, and then there is so many new ones that I follow actually, from Robin Sharma to Gary Vee to, recently I've been reading John Gordon.
Yeah.
Because I've been reading some of his goodies. I think the young folks should read all his books, especially The Energy Bus. So it will really give you a base of what to look for. If you just have to know what subject and what are you looking to expand or grow in.
Right.
There should be a lot of, there's a lot. And in fact, actually people talk about social media, but social media, like podcast is a part of social media. Like there are people on Facebook, LinkedIn that we can follow to get more information.
Right.
Again, it's very important because there's so much information now to screen and filter this information.
Right.
So that's important.
So we're going to have some final thoughts here. What would you like to leave the audience with today, with all of your background in behavior and psychological therapy, occupational therapy? Just some food for thought for the...
Yeah. I have a mantra that I always use, but before that, so basically habits are the invisible blueprints of our life. So think of them as blueprints. So when you create something, they become a part of your life and it stays within your journey. Yeah, you can actually make it a masterpiece based on what you're doing and creating along the way. So they shape your lives actually as you grow. And then, of course, it's a lifelong journey. So that's what we call it, a work in progress. Nobody has attained. It's a goal that's ongoing. But to leave a final word, I would just say that actually just stay interested, stay informed, stay involved, and stay inspired.
Listen, you are your own rescue. Nobody's coming to save you, right? Identify what you want. Identify where you want to go, right? Continue to, like Pinacky said, reach into the depths of your heart. I was reading a book by, it's called The Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And it was one phrase he talked about. He has a beautiful 3-piece work. And he said, I looked into the abyss and then the abyss looked back, right? The thing that woke me up when I was transforming and transmuting and trying to become an alchemist in my own world was I had to take a look at myself. And what I knew is I was more than what I had become. The next question was, how do I become more? For me, it started a journey of reading hundreds of books. I'm not bragging about the books. I'm simply talking about the thirst to become my best version and the search for that knowledge, right? And then we talked about being a master student. I'm a student first at all times. I know that you are as well. That's a beautiful thing about our friendship and our relationship. In conclusion, I am Mario Nolan Dillard. From our family to your family, we want to thank our guest, Mr. Pinacky Chakravarty. We want to make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and comment. We want to give shouts out to V2 Media and all of the tireless work that they do in service of us as we serve you, our community. Until the next time we see you, God bless.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.